Wednesday Campanella, master conveyors of catchy music, experimental production, and storytelling are here to talk to us about architecture. So let's see how that went. Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where we're going to talk about the latest Wednesday Campanella song, which is focusing very much on the story of Unkei, the traditional Japanese architect, and Kaike, who's another architect and a project they worked on together. We'll talk about that a little bit more, as well as the music, how effective it is, and really, is this one of those examples of Wednesday Campanella just getting so many things right? Well, first of all, let's talk about the message. Yeah, it's not often we talk about lyrics on this channel, and yet Wednesday Campanella, I'm just more and more over time realizing you can't really talk about their songs without addressing the lyrics, because whereas so many groups have lyrics that tend to be fairly generic, this is why I'm not a big lyric person as a general, except for when it comes to things like rap and hip hop, when there's genuine effort put into lyrics there. Wednesday Campanella, not only do they have interesting hip hop lyrics, pop lyrics, but they also really pick subjects that are fascinating. We talked most recently about the song which was about the Little Red Riding Hood tale, and here we go from fiction into one of their historic ones where they're talking about Unkei and Kaike. Now, apologies if I'm screwing up the pronunciations, by the way, but Unkei was a very famous and well-respected Buddhist architect who, along with Kaike, who I didn't know much about but had to quickly research, they both worked together on a project to produce these two sculptures, two statues for a temple which used a very different style of art from what had been done before, at least a very different style of how they made the sculptures. Now, the main thing that really matters here is that in Wednesday Campanella's song, they're talking about the relationship between the two architects. Now, I don't know anything about that, and considering it's historic, I'm sure that we probably don't know much first-hand accounts anyway. However, they really sort of paint the picture of two people who while away the hours talking together. And this is something that I really liked, is that there was this feeling that the lyrics were concentrating on the idea of a friendship, on camaraderie, about people who are genuinely intellectual, just talking for hours and hours on end. And that, to be fair, is a subject that I think could be explored more in music, just the subject of two people who are intrigued by each other's intelligence. This is something that does not come up enough in music. I mean, hey, we're all human. I got nothing against attractive things, but so often do we hear songs about attractiveness, about very sort of surface value things. And when you're talking about two architects, these are two people who produce visual art, and yet it's very much concentrating on discussing their feelings about more intellectual things. I mean, as I said, the two statues that they produced were famed in part for the fact that they were constructed using a technique that hadn't been used before. We're looking at a architect who, Unkei, became famous for the fact that he took a very different realistic approach to architecture of sculptures to begin with. So we're looking at two people who, it's more than just the visual, it's the intellectual side as well. And that for me was something that made this very engaging, even though I don't have any real personal vested knowledge of these two. They were both Buddhists. I'm not a Buddhist. I have no personal vested interest. I felt like I was hearing a story about two people who genuinely were interested in each other's intellect. Where that comes against something a little bit odd, and again, I might be missing something, some deeper thing in the message that I don't know about, as someone who's not so familiar with it, is the video. Now, before we even get onto the song, I need to make the segue through the video, because the video was a curious one. Now, I've mentioned that I have become a big fan of Utaha ever since she joined Wednesday Campanella. I just think she's brilliant. I think she picked up from where Komi left off, and she's done a great job of really getting that feel. The whole visual style, I'm usually not into sort of people with face piercings and things. It's not my usual style, and yet I just think everything about her charming. I just think she brings a lot of charm and joy and this really weird sort of bohemian look. That's all great, and I've liked it for the best part. This video though, I've got to be honest, there were nice aspects where it was kind of feeling out the idea of artists and the artistic vibe and showing sort of construction done in a sort of dance style way, and the whiling away the hours in the sort of the bars talking. But then there was also twerking. I hate to say it, but twerking is so fucking played out. And we got to the point where, thanks to twerking in Western media and the fact that there just seems to be this propensity, or at least there was for a while, of just bums being shaped in K-pop, and K-pop getting obviously very popular, that I think we're all very desensitized to bums. And just, it's not even, you can't even do it ironically anymore. It's just, I just don't want to see twerking in anything. I don't want to see bums, especially in a Especially in a video that seemed to be sort of genuinely going for this kind of interesting, thoughtful vibe, and we were talking about interesting, intellectual people, and then bums. I don't want to see it. For me, it was just kind of like a bit cringy when that happened. It was like, the video was so good, just take the cringy twerking stuff out. Yeah, everything else about it was interesting, a little bit artsy, but not in a sort of super over-the-top, highbrow, snooty way. It was just kind of like interesting, cool, and funky. But the bums. No. Get rid of the bums. So last but not least, we have to get down to the song and its production. When I say last but not least, I mean, it certainly isn't least, but it should be pointed out that as far as songs go, this is good. It's good, but it doesn't really stand out as being anything particularly different. Now, it has a lot of chill-out vibes that we've heard in a lot of Wednesday Campanella songs. Wednesday Campanellas in general are at their best when they are playing with either the particularly infectious, catchy songs, i.e. Edison, or the myriad of songs where they've got an interesting production idea, where they do something just a little bit different. You go, wow, you've made something that I wouldn't normally expect to come across and sound palatable. This is just kind of like very chilled out, sort of soft EDM, jazz, chill out vibe kind of thing going on, and it works. It's nice. The lyric delivery, again, is great. It sort of skips between a slightly sort of medium tempo hip hop vibe, and then occasionally goes into sort of song bits. It's all very chilled out, and it works. It does work, but it doesn't stand out as being anything particularly different. I wouldn't say it's particularly catchy in a way that makes it an obvious single. It's just nice. It's nice, and that's good. It certainly does capture the sort of vibe. It has this sort of thoughtful vibe to it, and that sort of chilled out tone it's going for, and so it works and it captures the mood. But I wouldn't say it's one of those songs where I feel like I have to rush back to it. It's not a song where I'm thinking, yes, this is definitely, yes, wow, okay, it's really interesting that they did that. It's a good little vibe song. So credit to them for that as well. Credit for them getting a song that has a musical feeling that goes well with the lyrics, even if the video in part doesn't. It's just, yeah, it's good quality, but not particularly doing anything that pushes us too far into a new territory or really sort of exemplifies the best qualities of Wednesday Campanella. It's just a safe example of them being the solid production, the studio that they are, I guess. So in conclusion, nice, interesting, thoughtful, historical story to talk about, which took a character that I only knew by name and a couple of things, and really influenced me to do more research. A good vibe from the music that really captures that and has a sort of chilled out feeling, but also remaining with those Wednesday Campanella qualities that stops it just being cookie cutter, but gives it a little bit of quality and delivery, especially through those lyrics and the nice sort of rap bits and the way it goes into the singing and everything. A good quality video that basically works when it's not just shoving twerking in your face. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Again, I think this is one that's going to sit into like an album for me quite well. I would enjoy this as part of an album a lot, I think. It has that sort of atmospheric vibe, which is just perfect for an album track. Really not what I would describe as a single, and that's not talking down about it at all. Just, yeah, interesting that it got its own video, interesting that it got that status. However, I just think this to me sounds like a good quality album track, and that's not to be taken as an insult. But as always, get in the comments and tell me what you think. You might have very different opinions. Maybe you liked bums. And until I hopefully see you very soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.